Now let us know about the burials. Okay, so we will learn about the story of the megaliths. So megaliths means stone boulders. So basically it is the large stone, huge, large or big stones. So that is known as megalith. Okay, so they used to arrange these large stone boulders in a special way so that they can mark the burial site. So these stone boulders were arranged so that they can mark the burial site. Okay, so they were used for marking the burial sites. So maybe they served as signboards or signposts that there is a burial site. Okay, so this practice was prevalent throughout the regions of Deccan, southern India, northeast part of the Indian subcontinent, and the Kashmir region. Okay, so we can see in this image here. So like this they used to arrange the stones. Okay, so this is a large slab. Okay, so this type of arrangement of megalith is known as a cyst. Okay, so sometimes they used this burials for only for certain families, so it also had a porthole. Okay, so these type of megaliths are called cysts. Okay, so archaeologists also found that some megaliths were on the surface and the other were underground. So there were two types of megaliths, that is one easily found on the surface and the other one was underground, so that was beneath. Okay, how they used to find these underground megaliths? So they used to place the stone boulders so that they can get to know that there is a burial beneath. Okay, so that is how they used to recognize the underground megalith. Okay, so in the other image shown we can see there is a porthole in that megalith, that is also a type of megalith. Okay, so in all these megaliths archaeologists found some common features, that is they found some distinctive pots which were of black and red ware. Okay, next they also found some iron tools and weapons such as axes. Okay, and they also found skeletons of horses, and they found ornaments made of stone and gold. Okay, so these are all the common features archaeologists found out while examining these megaliths. Okay, so now let us know how the archaeologists found out that there was social differences in that society. Okay, let us know how the archaeologists found out that there were social differences between the people during that time. Okay, so as I told you, so when excavating the megaliths archaeologists found some common features, right? So in that I told you they found distinctive pots of black and red ware and ornaments. Okay, so like this, when archaeologists found objects with a dead person, okay, while excavating the burial, so they found objects with a dead person. Okay, so some burials, so some skeletons had less objects, and some skeletons had more objects. Okay, some burials had more objects and some burials had very less objects. Okay, so we can see one of the special burials found in Brahmagiri. Okay, so let us first locate Brahmagiri in the map. So this is the site of Brahmagiri, and there is another site of megalith, that is Adi Channallur. Okay, so these two sites are the megalithic sites. Okay, the archaeologists found a special burial in Brahmagiri. Okay, so in Brahmagiri they found a skeleton with 33 gold beads, 2 stone beads, 4 copper bangles, and 1 conch shell, as we can see in the image. So the archaeologists found all these objects with a skeleton. Okay, but whereas the other skeletons had objects like pots, that too very few pots. Okay, so some skeletons had more objects, and some skeletons had valuable objects such as gold beads and copper bangles and such things. Okay, but some burials had very less objects, and some burials had only pots, only few pots. Okay, so by this, archaeology department suggests us that there was social differences among the status of the people who were buried. Okay, so this is how archaeologists came to a conclusion that social differences existed between the people who were buried. Okay, so this is about the social differences. Now we will learn that there were some burial spots only for certain families. How they found out about this? As I told you, when the archaeologists were examining the megaliths, they found some megaliths where they found more than one skeleton. Okay, so and when they examined this, those skeletons were from the same family, but it was from different times. So maybe those were the skeletons of the same family of different generations. Okay, so this is how they came to a conclusion that some burial spots were meant for certain families. Okay, so how was this possible that more than one skeleton was present in one megalith? How? That is through portholes. Okay, so as we can see in the image, through portholes, the uh, the dead person was put into that megalith. Okay, so that is through portholes, as we can see in the image. Okay, so how they used to recognize these burial spots meant for certain families, that is, they arrange these stones or the stone boulders in a circle or different shape, by which they can recognize that is the burial spot meant for that particular family. Okay, So these stone boulders, or the arrangement of stone boulders in a special way, served as a signpost to recognize burial spots meant for particular families. So these served as the signpost. That is how they were able to recognize the burial site of their family. Okay, so this is about the burial spots meant for the certain families. Next, we will learn about one of the earliest cities named Inamgaon. Now, let us know about one of the earliest cities. So, Inamgaon. Inamgaon is also included in some of the earliest cities. Okay, so now let us locate Inamgaon in the map. Okay, so this is Inamgaon. So Inamgaon is also one of the earliest cities. Okay, so this site of Inamgaon is situated on the banks of river Ghod. So river Ghod is a tributary river of river Bhima. Okay, so Inamgaon was a site which was on the banks of river Ghod. Okay, so it is believed that people occupied this site during 3600 to 2700 years ago. That is maybe during the Chalcolithic age. Okay, so in this place, archaeologists found some burials. Okay, so most of the burials found by the archaeologists were the burials of adults. Okay, so these burials of adults were buried in the ground, and their bodies were laid out straight and their head towards the north. Okay, so particularly the bodies were buried in these conditions. Okay, so the head was towards the north and the bodies were laid out straight. Okay, so these are some of the common features found in the burials of adults on the site of Inamgaon. Okay, so even the archaeologists found some of the burials in the houses itself. Okay, and they also found some vessels with the dead bodies, and they believed that those belonged to the person. Okay, to that respective person who was buried. Okay, and they also found some vessels that contained food and water that was found with the burial of the dead person. Okay, so all these vessels were also found with the burial in the with the dead person. Okay, so here there is also a special burial found in the site of Inamgaon. Let us know about that special burial. They found a special burial at Inamgaon. Okay, so this burial was a burial of a man in a four-legged clay jar, as we can see in the image. So the man was buried in a four-legged clay jar. Okay, and that clay jar was found buried in the courtyard, which was the center of that house or that settlement. Okay, so that house was in the center of the city of Inamgaon, and this burial of the man was found in the courtyard of that particular house. So that house where they found this special burial was a big house. So it had 5 rooms. Okay, and probably that was also the largest house found in that site. Okay, and that house also had a granary. So a granary means a storehouse for the grains. So probably that was the house of some chief. Okay, so this was the special burial found at Inamgaon. So we also studied about another special burial which was found in Brahmagiri, okay, with 33 gold beads, 2 stone beads, and 4 copper bangles, and 1 conch shell. That was in the site of Brahmagiri, and the burial with 4-legged clay jar was found in the site of Inamgaon. Okay, so this is the special burial found in Inamgaon. Okay, so now let us know how historians examine these burials. Okay, so now let us know how the archaeologists differentiated the skeletons of male, female, and a child. Okay, so let us know what the skeletal studies tell us. Okay, so skeleton of a child. So the skeleton of a child was easy to identify as it was small. So the skeleton of a child was small when compared to the skeleton of the other adult skeletons. Okay, so that is how they were able to easily find out the skeleton of a child because it was small. Okay, so next, how they got to know about the skeletons of men and women. How did they differentiate between the skeleton of a man and a woman? Okay, so can we find that out? So yes, we can. So based on the ornaments found with the skeleton, the archaeologist described the skeletons of male and female. But in this method, there was a problem. What was the problem? So the problem was even men used to wear ornaments and jewelries. That was the main problem. Okay, so sometimes they were not able to differentiate between the skeleton of a man and women. But based on the modern skeletal studies, the bone structure in the pelvic region is different for male and female. That is how they made out whether it was a skeleton of a male or a female. Okay, so the pelvic region for a female is larger for enabling childbirth. Okay, so that is how they differentiated between the skeleton of a male and a female. So that way it got easy to find out whether the particular skeleton is a skeleton of a male or a female. Okay, so this is what skeletal studies tells us, how to identify between the skeleton of a male and a female. Okay, now there is a book named Charaka Samhita. Okay, so that book was written by a famous physician named Charaka. That is about 2000 years ago. A physician named Charaka wrote a book called Charaka Samhita. In this Charaka Samhita, Charaka has stated that human body has 360 bones. Okay, but according to what the modern anatomy tells, human body has 200 bones. Okay, so maybe Charaka has included joints, teeth, and cartilages also. That is why he stated that human body has 360 bones. Okay, so this was a famous book. Charaka Samhita was a famous book written by Charaka, that is 2000 years ago. He stated that human body has 360 bones, but according to what the modern anatomy tells, human body has only 200 bones. Based on all these, the archaeologists examines the burials and the skeletons, the skeleton burials found in the historic sites. Okay, now let us know about the occupations at Inamgaon. Now let us know what was the occupation of the people at Inamgaon. Okay, so in Inamgaon, archaeologists found seeds of wheat, barley, rice, and some pulses, millets, peas, and sesame seeds. Okay, and with these, they also found some bones of animals. So, some bones also had cut marks. So, probably they also used animals as source of food. Okay, so they, that is why they found cut marks on some of the bones of the animals. Okay, so this the bones of animals, uh, so the animals which they got the bones were of cattle, buffalo, goat, sheep, deer, dog, horse, pig, black buck, antelope, hare, and mongoose. Apart from all these, they also found some skeletons of birds and water animals like crocodile, turtle, and fishes. Okay, so the bones of all these animals were found at the site of Inamgaon. Okay, and they also found the evidence is that they also gathered uh, fruits such as berries, amla, jamun, and dates. Okay, so considering all these, we can come to a conclusion that people at Inamgaon were farmers, hunters, herders, and gatherers. Okay, so based on this, we can learn that the occupation of the people at Inamgaon was farming, herding, hunting, and gathering. Okay, so this is all about the burials. Okay, and the site of Inamgaon. Okay, so here this chapter ends. Okay, so in the next chapter, we are going to study about the later Vedic period. Okay, that is how kingdoms emerged and how leaders became kings and how the territories became kingdoms. Okay, and also about the early republic and the Gana and Sangha form of ruling. We will learn about all these things in the next chapter. Thank you.